The topic of narcissism has been really huge, and so I want to give my 2 cents on that. And narcissism would be like I'm in love with my self image, and then I do like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm so cool, wink, wink." So there can be a comic relief to everything, even life and death itself. You can see from a transcendent perspective, where it's just a theater that, you know, God consciousness is playing all of us, and we're all of its puppets. Yeah. But we're going to talk a little bit about development of the psyche and all of that. So comic relief would be where you have some transcendence or objectivity. Now, transcendence and objectivity here means that you can see things from the first person immersion, but then also you can have a global view where you see that everybody else is also right in their own costume, whatever the mask they're wearing. And then you're like, cool, it's a transcendent perspective, global perspective. However, we may get stuck in the personal projection of the world and what we believe is true, and then in opposition to the other. So we don't have self-reflection because we don't hear other people, because we are overdoing our own, let's say, intelligence. We're overdoing our own projection and so on. So why would we do that, and how do we oftentimes do that? Because life, it's a subtle balance of polarities and even a balance of paradoxes. So we may all have narcissistic trait or behavior, and that does not need to default to like clinical narcissism. Okay, but whenever we are actually very intensely attached to something, experience of something, and that may be like, I'm emotionally attached to this toy, and therefore I'm playing with this toy, and now I'm don't want to give you this toy. You want to take it like, hey, like, give me the toy, and I'm like, I'm not gonna give you this toy, and then I even harm you because the emotional attachment, the identity that is experiencing this relationship, that's my ego in the moment, will then have the protector, which is the demon, which is like, mine, it's mine. So we don't know how to share. And you will see this because it's part of nature, and you see it. Like, I had the dogs, and when I have several dogs on occasion, if you try to go to my bowl of food, I'll go like, mine, mine. But and they also fight for the titty when we had kittens that were born, and they're just instinctively fighting to get, and they're pushing the other kittens off. So babies, kittens, puppies, they can be caught up in a very survivalistic impulse. So this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. I have to get it, I have to maintain control over my toy or my titty. Otherwise, death. So survival engine is a default state of seeing only my perspective of reality and being immersed in only my needs. And if you look at humans growing up from babies, we as parents, or our parents once, are supposed to teach us, nervous system regulation. Okay, here you go, hon, we love you, you're safe, and then slow down. And you start to then develop sense of other people, their needs, and diplomacy. Basically, on a very baby-like level, we're learning how to have awareness of other people and understand their feelings, and then we learn to balance that. So it's quite an intricate dance of life. And as we grow up, this becomes more and more and more complex. Okay. However, there are certain states of experiencing humanness where we overdevelop, like the intellectual apparatus or the self-image, mental processing, the psyche. We can overdo it. Okay. And if we're always too busy thinking from our own perspective, then we might not have enough, well, listening for the other. Okay. So let's see how this goes. Like in the yin, which is the feminine, we are pure presence. And from that, we are the space for others to act. Okay, so somebody comes into my theater, I'm in my feminine, I'm relaxing, and they're doing their bid. And so I'm a very great listener, I'm a very great perceiver, I'm a very great space holder for others. However, in my yang, I'm being the one that is expressive. So now I'm talking, making my videos, yo. And so in a balanced conversation, we can flip. Okay, we can flip the mic. Like, here you go. Oh, really? Oh, and I'm now feeling you. I'm experiencing you. I'm empathizing with you because oh my God, that's great. No way, no way. And that would be the feminine way of experiencing reality. Okay, so you're the audience. And I noticed, before I knew this, I noticed when I was younger and I used to hang out with my girls, and they were all just vibing with like when I'm in a female company and there's like many girls, it's weird. There's no critical thinking. They're just going into this vibe, and whoever is saying whatever, everybody's just vibing with that. And when I hang out with my boys, I say my opinion, but then everybody else has a different opinion. So the masculine quality is to explore concepts and project those concepts and be actively immersed into creating yourself as an identity. You see? So then it goes from there that if I'm with my boys and they're all, well, predominantly in the masculine principle, it's like a battle of opinions. Well, nobody's ever gonna really just vibe with what you said, but they're gonna say something how they see it. And then the next one, they're gonna say it how they see it. So it's a little bit more of a, it doesn't have to be like a debate because it can be constructive. It can be like a brainstorming or whatever. But with girls, it's more like agreeing with everything that you see or feel or experience. But we have these active and passive polarities within ourselves. Okay, and also this was interesting. I found out that sometimes we say, I don't know how this is said in English, but we have a phrase here where you can sing a tune in tune. We say you have the ear, like you have the ear for singing. But it really goes that if you are just singing, I'm going to sing because I'm going to sing, because I'm going to sing, but I'm not stopping to at the same time be the receiver of what I'm expressing, then it might go off tone. Okay, so you suck at karaoke. Because if you are expressing and then also kind of like allowing yourself to hear yourself, then you will be in tune, you will be in tone. So you, in order to be a good singer, you need to be able to sing and hear yourself. So if our minds are going like brrr, and our attachment to external things like that toy is like we never relax from the action and the attachment that we create. Our consciousness creates this etheric attachment with everything that we're doing. So if we not relax back and just like detach, then we are overdoing the external world. We're overdoing the yang component, the masculine component. And then when we are this immersed into doing something or opening many tabs and doing all of these things, so just an illustration, if you're ever overworked from your job or business, and then you don't close down these tabs but they're like open, and you come home and you can't be with your kids because you bring all of this active information and you're still processing, and then you're not seeing the world, feeling the world around you. Okay, and we have sometimes like these family roles where the men will do that. They will come and they will be all the time too busy with the information, and they're still connected to their work and they always need to go and do stuff, and so they're not present, but they're supplying, they're out in the world and they're making monies. I mean, at least this is a family model. Like that's not what I do, but that's not what I choose. But that's from TV shows and like movies, and I guess then general society will have this model where then the women are present with presence, and they're sitting at home, and then just the kids are there. So it might be like this, or it might be that you want to create a balance in your life. And here is, this is a judgment-free zone. I'm not saying even, having narcissistic traits or being in that type of experience is something inherently evil, yeah, or wrong or negative. I'm just explaining how reality works. And with knowing how reality works, we can have better discernment of like finding ourselves in this complex, intricate reality, and then having better discernment of just seeing ourselves, noticing ourselves, creating better choices, having more freedom, enjoying life more. Yeah. Okay, so there's one more thing that's a little bit important. If we are overdriving external experience, which creates these sanskaras or etheric attachments, which we do not release through some kind of spiritual hygiene, then our minds will always be busy and we won't enjoy the passing of time, the stillness, the colors, the sensations, the sensuality of life, which is also the feminine way. We will be always too busy. And, burnout, business owners, burnout, yo, feel me? It can be tough if we don't know how to actually clean up the RAM memory. So your little Tinky Winky pad, you offload the programs, you detach from your actions. On weekends, even in the evenings, defragment, do a little bit of meditation, letting go, stop worrying, stop over processing. And then your nervous system's not going to be jacked up all the time, and your mind's going to be empty from time to time, which is really neat because then you can fall in love with life and literally whatever is around you from a very pure state of consciousness. However, this needs to be also intentionally, deliberately practiced. So when we have jacked up nervous system, overloaded mind, what happens? We create suffering, basically. So over masculinity or over yang, being too much immersed in life, not knowing how to lean back, it creates suffering ultimately. And basically, first of all, attachment, not releasing the etheric attachment, the connection that you have to your emails, or your manifestations or whatever. You need to let go. Okay? But the mind, if you open a lot of tabs and they can start to like interface like little autonomous agents, you're running a little AI GPTs entities that need to do this, so need to offload all of those. Otherwise, mind, restless nervous system can't regulate and go into rejuvenation. Your body goes into rejuvenation mode. You're not sleeping well, etc. So complexes, psychological complexes, come from having too many tabs open, and now the tabs are driving your body. You're not conscious. You're not consciousness choosing to be relaxed or engaged, but something is driving you. External addictions like phones, there is a strong etheric connection with everything that you do. So all the apps and email programs and everything on your device will literally, like a glue, it will pull you to that smartphone, to that device. You need to detach. It's like any other addiction. You need to detach from those. Otherwise, you're not breaking the loop. Now, when you're not breaking the loop between these attachments, you're actually going into a more rigid reality, because reality updates when you go into the void, into the pure feminine, pure yin. This is where the manifestation, quantum shifting, or all the miraculous things happen. It's from being fully immersed and then fully letting go. If you're always just stuck processing feedback loops that you created with your smartphone, with your business, with your emails, with your everythings, with your people, okay, even children, like if you don't let go, you will not get a fluid reality. You will get a very rigid reality. And actually, the more you do this, the more resistance you will meet. And then work will feel like grinding. However, it does not need to be like this. It can be effortless. It can be effortless if you know how to detach, because then life, nature, universe, whatever you want to call that, will do it for you. And you will, so Sabbath, respect Sabbath. Just have a 1 day off. Tech detox, dopamine detox, everything detox. Just relax. Stare at the tree. Go lie underneath the tree in nature. You will see on Monday everything's going to work better, and without you trying, without you being in control. So just a little bit, because I was also raised in this hyper masculine society with like buildings and businesses and all of this stuff, and in this urban environment it's a non-stop stress, it's a non-stop burnout. So we're actually taught to be little bots, little manufacturing bots, and this is not the way to live. You feel me, I know. I know you're feeling me. That's not a way to live, but nobody ever told me this other way to live. So now I'm putting it into words, and I'm painting this picture, and I'm sharing it with you. There's this other way to live, effortless way, the Wu Wei, the Taoist way. Ancient people knew this stuff. Modern people don't know this stuff. This is why I'm sharing this stuff. So when we are too immersed in the ego, and ego can't go to sleep, and we become consciousness, then ego is attached with these etheric connections to all the things that it's doing, and the consciousness cannot zoom out of the ego. And then, like, I'm so cool, narcissism type, like with the comic relief, like, look at me, I'm in love with my self-image. Oh, with a little bit of comic relief, yeah, sure. Like, be fully yourself, enjoy yourself. take pleasure in your image. Send kisses to yourself, like I'm sending kisses to myself in the camera, also sending kisses to you all. That's cool. That would be a very balanced goofiness of you being consciousness playing in the first person. However, not letting things go, things come back to bite you. Can I say the word? To bite your ass. I said it. Naughty boy, what to do? I said the word. Yeah, yeah. I have to break the norm. Yeah, even the self-expression, the ego gets plasticified into like, oh, I shouldn't say ass, and then ass, ass, and then we're balancing. We're breaking our own neuroplasticity. We're breaking our own rules. We're breaking our own identity. We're creating neurofluidity. We can jump into the ego. We can wear it as a suit. We can even get a little bit lost in the dance of the first person immersion. But then we're also able to transcend it and see the global perspective of consciousness, including all people. Yeah. Now you see where people's ego is too rigid, and whether that is the first person ego or it's my tribe. What are the tribes that right now? There are always some tribes like communists and capitalists. They will go to war over that tribal ego. Religion ego. Ooh, go to war. I'm gonna kill you. My God is better than yours. So can we see the other person perspective? If my God is better than yours, die. Offspring of Satan, die. My God is better. My only true God is better than your fake gods. You satanic offspring, kill them. So, being immersed in the ego is like, it's like that kitten trying to get that teeth. It's like that puppy or baby screaming for their food. And, if you break the attachment from that little puppy, from the teeth, it's survival. It's survival. So if you break away a Muslim's attachment to their idea of Allah, death, Christian person and their idea of Jesus, death, Buddhist person and their idea of God is like the void, nothingness. And yeah, okay, already in the nothingness there's no attachment. So you Buddhist, you're good. Not, you don't make wars, huh? Not so much. But whoever has a personified egotistical attachment to some kind of concepts, thing, and cannot break it, cannot let it go, they will be too rigid in their first person immersion, and they will be stuck in their ego, and they will not be able to see other people's perspectives. So be a little bit narcissistic. Christianity, go Christians. Buddhism. What was the one in the Buddhism? It was like Buddhism. I forgot the mantra. Something. Paragate namavate chamim bye. Hinduism, go Krishna. Islam, go Allah. Oh Allah. So yeah, like, be the best, but just notice, like, you will catch the ego if it's going out of balance, if it's creating superiority or inferiority projections. These are your main fertilizer for any other suffering, and to be honest, it's not a big deal once we are open to actually get the comical relief and the self-reflection. But when we're stuck and then the self-image thinks it's gonna die if I let go of my idea, then you need to let that ego die. because you can make another one in the next few seconds. They just come by, ideas. But being stuck to the idea is the root of all suffering, I tells you. And what happens with well, look at me, for example. I'm so narcissistic, I'm creating these complexes. I'm a kid, so I don't know that I have a mind and a body and all this stuff. And I started to go to elementary school. And so all my life, I'm really thin, like my physique. I'm like super skinny, or kind of like, I'd like to say that I'm athletic, in love with my self-image, but kind of skinny. That's my. But I was a kid, and I went to school, and there was these chairs, and my thigh, that's the part of my body from like the upper leg, would be pressed on the chair. So this is the first time where I went and I needed to sit in a chair for extended periods. Okay, the school, like first grade, elementary, and my thigh would kind of like go like on the chair because it's pressed on the chair, so it would like expand. And all of a sudden, this chunk of meat that was like this stick became like this meat that was kind of dispersed on the chair. And I was looking at my thighs and I was like, I'm fat. Oh my God. And then I started to also build this idea. Okay, that's wrong. Nobody will like me because I'm fat now. Since I started school, I'm fat. And so for months then I had this idea about myself. And because this idea was persisting because I was feeding it and I never had any reflection, I was like, yeah, I'm fat and that sucks. So I developed inferiority complex. And how? Just because your mind can kind of compare things, it can draw conclusions from comparison, and we use this to have judgment and discernment, right? But then sometimes that works against us before we master our own mind, and get some perspective. They can work against us, and it can create this really inferior self-concept, or then to compensate for that, we may create another one that's like a superiority self-concept, and we're just like driving around with all of these ideas. And everything that ego or identity does is relative. So all of this is like super not like, people are Christian and then change to Islam and then change to Judaism and then change the name, and they're like, so it's relative whether you want to, and you can compare yourself to others, and you can be, wow, these guys are really athletic and I love their physique. And then I can be, my life sucks, I will never be like that. Or I'm fat, I don't want to go outside, right? But not necessarily. You might be like, I'm chubby and I love myself. I'm skinny and I love myself, right? And then I love these also. So you can be relaxed with it, or your mind can just kind of spin it. So my mind spinned it, and it did spin it for a couple of months, and I didn't know. And then I decided to, and I started to be also ashamed, and I didn't even want to tell this because I felt like, okay, so inferior, so pathetic. So I told my mom one day, I was like, I'm gonna come, Mom, I'm sad, I'm fat. She's like, eh? Like, eh? What's wrong with you? Like, you're not fat, you're uh actually skinny. I was like, really? She's like, yeah. And she dispelled this, I don't know, mental construct. She dispelled it because, in reference to somebody else, you may create more objectivity, more discernment. And then I believed also what she said, because it kind of corresponded to the actual fact of reality. But even if it didn't, and even if I was like, and she could say, but you can love yourself. I love you. It doesn't matter if you're like chubby or fat or whatever. Like, you can love yourself, and then from accepting yourself, like, you don't need to spin it. You don't need to drive that into like inferiority ego. Like you can accept it, and then you can change what you eat. I mean, maybe you can like feel differently and feel better, and then from feeling better, you also like, uh, your body will change. So it's cool. It's no problem. However, we tend to want to have the story of ourselves to analyze automatically, so people will go and say, I'm an alcoholic, and even though I'm being sober for 749 days, I'm an alcoholic, bro. For real? Why? Like, do you need to be something? Like, can you just not be that or whatever? Like, you can be a clown, or you can be a father, you can be a cloud or something. Like, yeah, I know we because the consciousness wants to experience itself as identities. Okay, so yeah, 30 minutes already, guys. This is a long video. I think I'm gonna end it here. But if you like to learn about reality architecture and how everything works in the game of life, drop a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.